What happens when the smartest minds on Earth try to solve the market with a single formula? Two Nobel laureates, the vice chairman of the Fed and the king of bond traders. A dream team like no other. They calculated the odds of failure at once in 10 trillion years. They thought they were gods. But the market doesn't care about your Nobel Prize, and the black swan was already at the door. Welcome to the Wealth Archive. Today, we witness the fall of long-term capital management. This is the story of how pure intellect almost destroyed the global financial system. It began with John Meriwether, the legendary bond king who wanted to turn trading into a perfect science. He recruited the brightest stars of academia, Myron Scholes and Robert Merton, the masters of modern finance. They didn't just build a hedge fund, they built a financial Vatican in Greenwich, Connecticut. Everyone wanted in. From major banks to private tycoons, everyone trusted the smartest guys in the room. For the first few years, they were unstoppable. Their returns were consistent, and their confidence was absolute. To them, the market was just a giant laboratory, a place where math was the only law. Their reach was global. Their influence was systemic. They were the center of the financial universe. Even the regulators were impressed. It seemed that the age-old risk of investing had finally been solved. But the arrogance of intellect is a dangerous trap. They believed they had calculated the impossible. The stage was set for a perfect storm. All they needed was a strategy that was too big to fail. Their secret weapon was convergence trading, betting that small price gaps between bonds would eventually disappear. The gaps were tiny. To make a real profit, they needed to amplify their bets to an extreme level. This was the power of the Black-Scholes model, a mathematical masterpiece used to price the future. Critics called it picking up nickels in front of a steamroller. As long as the market moved in a normal distribution, they were safe. But the world is rarely normal. They ignored the fat tails, the extreme events that math says shouldn't happen, but history says always do. To boost returns, they used massive leverage, borrowing $25, $50, even $100 for every $1 they owned. Their total positions reached over $1 trillion, a mountain of debt built on a foundation of certainty. They believed their math had hedged away all the risk. They thought they had outsmarted the universe. But in 1998, a black swan was born in the snowy plains of Russia, and the formulas were about to burn. By 1997, LTCM was drunk on its own success. They believed their math had officially solved risk. To keep their massive returns, they turned to the ultimate drug, extreme leverage. They held $4 billion in capital, but controlled over $100 billion in assets. Their total derivatives exposure reached a staggering $1 trillion. They were tied to everyone. The world gave the money without asking questions. Who would dare doubt a Nobel Prize winner? Their models said a disaster could only happen once in a trillion years. They were safe. But the models forgot one thing. Markets are not physics. Humans are not variables. The black swan was flying in from the east, and the math was about to break. The countdown to the unthinkable had begun. August 1998, Russia defaults on its debt, an event their model said was impossible. Panic went global. The world didn't converge, it exploded. LTCM's strategy relied on things returning to normal. Instead, everything moved to the extreme. Margin calls rained down. The banks wanted their money back. Now. In a matter of weeks, LTCM lost 90% of its value. Hundreds of millions of dollars vanished every single day. There was no liquidity. No one was buying. The mathematical certainty was now a death trap. Their equations told them it wouldn't rain, while they were already drowning in a flood. Leverage, their greatest friend, had become their most brutal executioner. They were days away from a total collapse that could freeze the entire global banking system. The smartest guys in the room had accidentally built a financial nuclear bomb. The central bank had to act, not to save the geniuses, but to save the world. September 1998. The Fed summons 14 major banks. They were forced to bail out their own nightmare. $3.6 billion, a massive wall of cash to prevent the infection from spreading to the rest of the world. This was the birth of a dangerous precedent. The idea that you can take insane risks and be saved by the system. The geniuses kept their lives, but they lost their crown. Their names became a warning, not an inspiration. The models were rewritten, the formulas were burned, but the lesson was already being forgotten. The bailout saved the market, but it destroyed the market discipline. The moral hazard was born. It was a quiet end to a loud explosion, but the ghost of LTCM still haunts the halls of Wall Street. They forgot that in finance, the most dangerous variable is the one you can't see. From 1998 to 2008 and into the world of crypto, the faces change, but the arrogance remains the same. We still think we can outsmart the unknown. We still think our models are shields. Trust the numbers, but respect the chaos. In the Wealth Archive, we learn so history stops repeating. Are you betting on a formula, or are you betting on reality? Know the difference. Subscribe to the Wealth Archive. Stay smart, stay humble,